Hello there and welcome to the show. This is Andy Shed Live, Series 7, Episode 45, and the last one of the present series, before Christmas anyway. Yes, last one before the festive season for this Sunday the 13th of December 2020. Oh, not on next week. We're not on next week, not with the live show, but I have got some news for some specials that are going to be happening over Christmas. So you don't get away from us that easy. Hello to everybody who's in the chat. If you are watching us on YouTube Live, of course, you can catch us in the chat and say hello. Hello to Christopher 2000, Fat Hobbit, Claus, Dominic Makin. Oh, they're all there tonight. Hello guys. Hello everybody. Yeah, so this is going to be the last one before Christmas that we're doing. We will be back in the new year. Is it something like 3rd of January, something like that? Sunday night in the new year, first Sunday in the new year. We will be back 3rd of January. I think it's 3rd January. It's the first Sunday in the new year anyway, whatever that happens to be. So yeah. Or is it 2nd? It might be 2nd. Alright. Oh, Jimmy's here as well. Hi, Jimmy. So yeah, we've got all sorts happening on the show today. As always, if you want to get in touch with us, here's the way to do it. andyshed.copress.net. Thanks to everybody that has got in touch with us over the last week or so. I can't speak now. I don't know what's happening. I'm just losing the power of speech, it would seem. We're also losing the light as well. The light's blown. Can you see how it's dark in that corner? But yeah, we are here for this last one tonight, and it's about Trimphones tonight. So I'm going to take a Trimphone apart again. Because various people have been asking about Trimphones, including Dominic. So we'll try and sort something out about Trimphones tonight. Right. So to do that, I've got to go and get my trusty bit of sellotape, haven't I? So I will be back in a minute. By the way, if you want any phone parts over Christmas, if you're doing a restoration yourself, have a look here at that while I go and get some sellotape. Yep, that's where to go if you want any phone bits over Christmas. A few bits and pieces on there at the moment on the shop there, but there'll be more coming on there when I get time to put it on, basically, which probably will be over Christmas. Christopher says, I was thinking the Ericsson N1970B telephone is a prototype phone, because I've seen no other pictures on Google of the N1970B phone. Could be, Chris. Could be. Could be. N19 somethings are common, but there's lots and lots of different N19 somethings. So what's commonly termed as the N1900, there's quite a few about, but within the N1900 there's things like you've got an N1970, there's N1900/244 is another one. So there's N19 somethings of Ericsson, and there's lots of different ones. So just because you've not seen one doesn't mean they're not out there. It just means they probably are quite rare. I'm not sure if it'll be a prototype or not, but it'll probably be something fairly rare that was made to a spec for a specific company somewhere that wanted a number of telephones. So it'll probably be something like that, I would guess. If I was a guessing person. Am I going to show your pictures of the the GPO 162 tonight? I can try. I'll have to find them, Chris. Hang on. Because, to be honest, I had forgotten, but I'll find them for you. Where are they? Right. I've just got to find these, which could take a moment or two. I think they're there. Right, I've got to figure out how to get them. Right, can somebody just remember the number 1907 just for a moment, please? Right, Chris, shall we see if they come out the right way round? The right way round on my screen here. Maybe I'll do it this way, hang on. Right, let's see what I can do. Do. Right. Right, let me see if I can do this. This will be marvellous. Right, I'm not quite sure why, but they've not come out fantastically well. But here you go. Right, if I'm view, wait, full screen. There you go. So I'm hoping you can see that. I'm hoping you can see those there. These are Christopher's. What are they? 162s, aren't they? Quite unusual for a lot of reasons. Basically, one of them is dynamo powered, as you can see, to make it ring. The other one, I think, is a central battery phone, isn't it, Chris? If I remember right. So one of them, you just lift the receiver and it will call the operator. The other one, you have to wind the handle to call the operator. But they are quite nice phones, though. Quite like those. And this is another one of Christopher's phones as well. Now this I do like. I like this a lot. But it is colour faded. And when I say colour faded, of course, it's kind of yellowed. And if you look at that picture that he's kindly sent us, that shows you what colour it should be. It should be that nice sort of sky blue colour, not that sort of nicotine blue-green colour. Which is probably not nicotine. A lot of people think it's nicotine fading, but it's probably not due to nicotine. It's just due to the plastic's exposure to daylight, basically, over 20, 30, 40 years. It should be possible. A lot of people do this thing called retro brighting of phones to get that sort of staining off. I've never had much luck with retro brighting, which is why I do it with my acetone method that I use. That's why I use the old acetone there. There we go. I'm back now. But yeah, you should be able to get that off, Chris, one way or another. Either retro bright or the old acetone trick that I do. I've got a video on the channel about doing it with acetone. Let us know how you get on, but it'll be really nice when it's colour restored. That is one I would colour restore, because basically the blue is a nice colour, the original colour. Some I don't tend to bother colour restoring. For instance, Ivory UK phones tend to fade. Sometimes they fade to quite a nice sort of primrose yellow colour, and I don't mind that colour. I leave that colour if they do that. That doesn't bother me too much. Fat Hobbit says, Andy, do you know how they picked the distinctive chirp for the Trimphone? I've got no idea. Do you know? Are you asking the question, or do you know? I've got no idea how they did it, but I'm guessing it was probably something decided upon by STC and put forward as an option by STC for the design of the Trimphone to the GPO. The GPO just liked it, went, yeah, we'll have that one. Because various people designed things, and basically STC's Trimphone was the winner. Dominic says, I was talking to a local computing museum, and they still stay well away from retro bright as it can weaken the plastic or make it brittle, apparently. That's interesting, I didn't know that. A lot of people do use it. 8-Bit Guy on YouTube uses retro bright. Lots of people use it, and I put this video up using acetone called Alternative to Retro Bright, and I get loads and loads and loads of comments on it saying but it damages the surface, it damages the surface, it takes the texture off the surface. I do say in the video, it's only for smooth surfaces, but every week there's at least one. It takes the surface off and it damages the texture on the surface of the computer. Don't use it on your computer. Didn't tell anybody to use it on a computer. I'm there using it on a telephone. What bit of what I say did they not understand? But but they all swear by retro bright. I've never got it to work. I see it's neither hot enough nor sunny enough for retro bright to work, and it needs to be both of those things for retro bright to work. Something to do with the chemical reaction. But they do say that retro bright, they say it goes back yellow again quite quickly. So I'm interested there, Dominic. Who's your local computing museum? Because I know there are a couple out there. I know there are 2 or 3 out there. Who's your local one? I know the one in Cambridge, which is really, really good museum. Has a lot of BBC stuff, BBC micros and Econ electrons and things, and Tim Curry, or is it Tim? No, it's not Tim. Is it Tim Curry? The guy from Acorn? No, Tim Curry's the bloke out of the actor, isn't it? That's Tim Curry. That's the guy out of blooming Rocky Horror Show. Or is it another Tim Curry? Somebody Curry, isn't it? The guy from Acorn, and he goes to this museum at Cambridge. I think goes fairly often and does talks and stuff. I quite like to go. But then, of course, there's also another computing museum, Bletchley Park, where they did all the code breaking stuff and that, and that's another place I want to go to. Maybe we'll even do a video from there or something this coming year, if we're allowed out in 2021. Yeah. Oh, Dominic says it's the Cambridge one. I did some volunteering there a couple of years ago. Yeah, I must go to that, Dominic. They seem a really nice, really laid-back bunch of people, they do. They've got a lot of videos on YouTube. I don't know exactly what they call themselves. I don't think it's Cambridge Museum of Computing. But if you have a search around on YouTube, you'll find lots of really interesting videos that they have. 'Cause like I say, they get people in to do talks and stuff. That's interesting that they don't retro-bright stuff. That's very interesting, that. Christopher 2000 says that the GPO 162 with the magneto box that he's got there didn't come with the magneto box. He had to hunt around for the box to make the phone complete again. You did very well to find it. How do you find these British phones in Australia? Are there a lot of British phones floating about in Australia, or do you just get very lucky? Because we'd struggle to find one of those magneto boxes over here. So it must be 10 times more difficult over there, I would have thought. Right. Oh, I've got this silly top chat thing on again, not the live chat. Hang on. Right. That's more like it. Everything's in the right order now. Right. Right. I better crack on before the computer freezes up. So, as I said on the old title screen there today, one thing that we're going to be up to today is going to be having a look at a Trimphone, because I've been asked about Trimphones. Who was it asking me about Trimphones? Was it you, Dominic? Asking about how many wires there are inside a Trimphone from one bit to the other. Dominic says, the Cambridge Museum of Computing History. Oh, thanks, Fat Hobbit. Yeah, the Cambridge Museum of Computing History. It's well worth a look. When I finish tonight, if you're watching this on YouTube, when we finish tonight, but not until, patience, type into YouTube, Cambridge Museum of Computing History. You've got at least 24 hours of great viewing there. You know, there are videos on there. Some of them are quite long, but they're really good. I can definitely recommend the Cambridge Museum of Computing History. Excellent. Not been, but the videos are really good. I'm planning to go. Christopher says he finds the UK phones in antique shops in Geelong, Australia, or Geelong, Australia. You do really well to find them. I wonder how they all get to Australia, because it's not an insignificant journey for them to have made, is it, to go to Australia? Right, yeah, it's Dominic then, asking about these Trimphones. It says his 1968 722L has 3 wires to the speaker board from the main board. Right, we'll have a look then, Dominic. I have a 722 here. It's not an L. It's an F. It's an old figure one. Here you go. It's a. So this is one that I basically restored a while ago. Let's do that. So here it is. Here's my trusty bit of sellotape, or the tapes are available that I had earlier. Pull the middle off the thing like that. I knew that one would come off reasonably easily, because I've had it off before, because I've put this dial label in. you see, because I print these. I've been asked about these as well. I print these dial labels. You can see them that like, cause that camera's got a light on it and it messes things up when you hold them close to it. But these dial labels, I print them out and then cut them out, sort of thing, and put them in there as blank ones. Right, so let's have a look. I will not use this fancy screwdriver that I've been looking for years. Finally got one and found out they're rubbish, so don't bother. So we'll not use the fancy screwdriver. We'll leave it there. We'll use the trusty Poundland screwdriver. or maybe it was Pound World when Pound World was a thing, which has now come back as One Below, which is a slightly superior pound shop to Poundland, I find. Controversial, but yeah, I do find it's a little bit better. Dominic says he reckons that Trimphone he's got is a field trial phone. Many of the components are in slightly different places to later ones. It could be somebody else has contacted me as well, Dominic, this week about a prototype Trimphone. Somebody else with a prototype Trimphone wanted to know how to convert it and things. Right, so we've taken that off. So now we'll get the case off by undoing the screw up here. This is a ridiculously long plastic screw. And then that will all come off like that. We'll put that to one side. Now what you're wanting to know, Dominic, is how many wires go between the two boards, isn't it? Well, can you see that? I've only got 2 on that. If I mean, if I take this out, if it will come out, there we go. Yep, actual wires between the two boards, just 2 blue ones. Which all you need if you think about it, really, to go to the sort of what passes for a bell. Right, I'm just looking at what we're all saying in the chat. Christopher says he's found 8 UK phones in Australia so far. That is amazing. We don't find Australian ones over here. I'm impressed at that. Right, it says he's got a picture of his board up, and yeah, the components are in different places. Right, what have I got here? 'Cause there is, and I don't know what the differences are, but there is a 722/1 and a 722/2. So I'm wondering if I've got a 722/2 here and you've got a 722/1 there. That's what I'm wondering. Can we see on the bottom of this? I can just see a 2 Gen 82. I've got a feeling this might be a 722/2 rather than 722/1. Yeah, because I can't really read much on the back of there, but I can just see a 2 there. So it's either 722 Gen 80/2 or 722/2 Gen 80/2, but I can't read the first bit, so I can get it in a different light if it's any easier to read. But I'm wondering if that's the reason. What does the bottom of it look like, Dominic? Has it got this fancy round thing moulded into the bottom. Oh, what's happened there? We've done it. Right, I'm just going through the chat and things. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once here at the minute. Jimmy says the first phone they had, the dial label had red writing. Does that mean it was really old? It means it was older, Jimmy. It means it was older. I think they swapped over sometime in the 60s, I think, but I don't know when. But there are a lot of repro ones with the red writing on now, so you have to be really careful. Right, Dominic says, grey, blue and brown wires on mine. Hang on, what's happening there? And only one visible resistor next to these wires. Board is marked 5A, he says. Which board are we on about now? Top one or bottom one? No, I'll knock that out now. Are we on about yon top board or yon bottom board? Has been marked 5A. What have I got on here? Oh, I've got 8A on this one. Get the right camera. Don't know if you can see that. I've got 8A just there from 1980. So they obviously did alter the wiring. They obviously did mess with the wiring in these. So that's quite interesting. And that's the Warbler board, Dominic's confirmed. So it's a 62, yours, and this one's this one is an 80. So I think there's something a little peculiar going on. With these phones. Things must have changed between 1962 and 1980, but I had no idea that they were different. So, well spotted that man. Now, I don't think I've got one that old. I don't think. Don't think I've got one that old. But I'd have to go through all of them and take the tops off all of them. I've got about maybe 10 or a dozen or something like that in total. So if I go through all of them, might figure something out. Dominic says his phone's 1968. Well, why does the board say 66 LAU, 62 AAC on it then? I would have thought at least part of that was a date. Interesting that, Dominic. I don't know what's going on there. Let's try and figure this one out, shall we? Yeah, I really don't know what's going on there. That does sound particularly odd. That does. But this board obviously seems to have got updates over time. It seems to have received a good number of updates as time's gone by. Now, how did I get that in there? Oh, it went in like that, didn't it? I think. Was it that way up, or was it the other? It was the other way up, wasn't it? Because it doesn't go that way. It must have been that way up. That is just a blanking strip. That little piece of plastic there doesn't normally fall out, but of course on this occasion it did, because they sometimes put a switch mechanism there if they want to fit a switch to the phone. So it seems that this board got revised over time, because this is an 8A and Dominic's is a 5A. So is it fair to assume there would have been a 6 and a 7A between those as well? Do we think? So that's interesting. That's interesting, because that board changed. I mean, everything on this phone relates to it being around about 1980. The board is marked 80. The little speaker to do the warble is marked 80. We'll have a look at the dial in a minute and see if there's a date on that. So this is a later trim phone. I put in the wrong screw back in here. I don't seem to want to go in. Really doesn't seem to want to go in that. Just looking at some of the rest of it. Right, as the screw doesn't want to go in, I'm going to I think that's the wrong one, isn't it? It's that one will go in. No. Perhaps it is the right one then. It's just a bit harder to get in than I thought it was. I have to say it again, British design of telephones, nothing is easy to fit together. Nothing just drops in and slots into place. It all has to be sort of bent and wangled into position. Unlike American phones, where everything just drops into place really easily. You know, these British phones do not do that at all. Oh, we're going now. It's going. So, yeah. There we go. It's back in. Cool. Board's back in. Yeah, right, let's have a look what everybody's saying. Dominic says, in his phone, the top row stamped on the base says 722L TCH68. Right, so that sounds like then it's 1968. That does. Says, we got the phone in the 60s because I was away at school to learn how to walk. My nan lent my mum and dad the money to have it installed. I wonder how much it cost back then. It would have certainly cost more than an ordinary phone. Trim phones were a premium item. You paid more for a trim phone You know, you paid more rental for a trim phone than for an ordinary phone. So if money was an issue, I'm not entirely sure why they had a trim phone. Because most people didn't. Most people didn't have a trim phone. Nobody that I know. People in my family all sort of got phones in the 70s. And everybody had ordinary phones. You know, my mum and dad got a phone in the 70s. I remember them getting it in around about 76, 77. They hadn't had a phone until then. They got one. And it maybe a little bit before, maybe 75 actually. I wasn't very old at the time. And that was a wall phone. That was an ivory wall phone. So it was either a 711 or a 741. And then who got one next? My mum's mum got one next, and that was an ivory. I think it was a 746. It could have been an old 706 that, of course, GPO'd recycled, but I think it was a 746, an ivory one. And then my dad's mum got one. That was an ivory one as well, but that one was on a party line, so it had the party line button on the top. And then when my mum and dad and me moved as a family, moved house, the house that we moved into had a red telephone, bright red. And I thought that was amazing. That, bright red, wow! After all these ivory ones, and I wish we'd still got it. But at the time when sort of push button phones came out, when there was a switch done to plug and socket, a BT engineer came out to install a new master socket for us with plug and socket, and gave us a new, fairly boring push button phone to plug in. Took the red one away. Jim says, no, indeed, it wasn't a trim phone. It was on the wall ivory one. Oh, right. I'm with it now. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting everything. I'm getting everything mixed up. Yeah. So that would have been like my mum and dad had then, Jimmy, an ivory one on the wall. Right. Dominic says the main board on his phone says 67. So it could be an even earlier revision, because the board says 67 and the phone's dated 68, so that's reasonable. Oh, Paul's here. Hi, Paul. He says, we had an ivory 741 on our hallway wall. Yeah, that was very much like we had, Paul. Very, very much like we had. And Christopher says, my mum's mum has a red GPO 746 or 706 phone in the 70s. Yeah, it's strange you can't remember whether there were 746s or 706s in it. I can't remember either, if any of mine were. And an orange trim phone. Wow. Now the orange trim phone, were they living in the UK at the time then, Chris? Because the orange trim phone, tell you a story about the orange trim phone. The orange trim phone is one of the Snowden range trim phones, I believe, and is very, very rare. Rare to the extent I have never seen one. It was two-tone, I think it was kind of orange case and a very deep yellow bordering on orange handset, I believe. And it was very, very rare. It was one of the rarest colours in the Snowden range. If they've still got that phone, they could probably go on a week's holiday with the money if they sold it. They're that rare. Now you have to be a bit careful about orange Trimphones, because here in the UK, many of you will remember a Saturday morning kids TV programme in the late 70s, early 80s called Multicolored Swap Shop, fronted by Noel Edmonds. And that was a phone-in show, and for at least one series, maybe more, on Noel's desk he had what appears to be an orange, a completely orange Trimphone. Now, whether it was completely orange or whether it was a Snowden phone that was two-tone, but it just didn't show two-tone on the cameras, because TV cameras sometimes show weird colours, colours that aren't quite right to what you can actually see if you're there, or whether the people at Television Centre just painted a phone to make it a brighter colour to go on the telly. I don't know. They certainly painted some of this colour Trimphones. They painted the handsets on them in on later series of Swap Shop, I think it is. They painted the handsets these dark mute colours, like a dark red and a dark blue and a dark green, but they were basically just grey Trimphones, and they painted the handsets. So because they had lots of guests on and phone-ins, I think the handsets were painted so that somebody could watch the monitors who was controlling the phone lines, and could then put the calls through to the right people, the right guests, the right pop group or whatever it was that they were interviewing at the time. Well, yeah. So yeah, orange Trimphones, very rare. Christopher says, I found an N1970B, a GPO706, two GPO162s, GPO312L, a GPO334, a GPO746 Mark 1, and an Ericsson 10-line telephone in the antique shops in Geelong. That's really good going, that is, Chris. There must have been, somebody must have been importing them into Australia, possibly as antiques. Possibly somebody has imported a container load as antiques into Australia, and you just happen to be in the right place. Dominic says there's a yellow Ambassador with a dial on eBay, but at £100 it's too much for me. At £100, Dominic, that ought to be too much for anybody. Yeah, I bought one. I've got one somewhere. Didn't cost me £100. I think it's a question if it cost me £15, and it's only a couple of years since I bought it. There is a push button one on eBay as well at the minute. That I think it's got one bid on, which is me, and it's something like a £5 or something like that at the moment. The Ambassador phones are really well built, particularly the dial ones. If you were to get a dial Ambassador, you will be amazed at how thick the plastic is and how chunky it is and how well it is built. It's a really, really good phone. It does have, however, a printed circuit board in it that is prone to problems. So you have to be ready to go out with a multimeter and test the tracks on the circuit board, see if any of the tracks are broken, and you have to solder a bit of wire to cross the breaks and things if they are. Because I had problems with mine, and I had to do some investigating with it. Christopher says yes, his mum lived in the UK from 1960 to 1986, before she moved to Australia. And mum's mum lived in the UK from 44 to 86 when she moved to Australia too, so obviously all the family moved out to Australia. Paul says, I'm in the final stages of preparing to move house now, so all of my phones are boxed up. I still have my Concord Blue 706L in Diacon. Always wanted one, as my great grandmother had one in the hall. Cool. supposedly very rare Concord Blue ones. They say Concord Blue is the rarest colour. I'm not so sure. I think it might be Topaz Yellow. But they do say Concord Blue is the rarest colour. All I can say is that I've got, if it's the rarest colour, I've got quite a few that are Concord Blue. Because I used to buy one when I saw it, because I thought, oh, I'm told that's the rarest colour. There's a Concord Blue one there, and get it. And then I realised I've got a box full of Concord Blue phones. Graham Townsend says, I live in New Zealand, and here, if you were prepared to spend more than the rental, you were given an Eriphone. I assume it means an Ericaphone. Trimphones weren't a thing here. So that I think what he's saying there is in New Zealand, if you spent more than the basic rental amount, they gave you an Ericaphone. Ericaphones are the stupidest phone in the world. I know they've won design awards and stuff like that, and I have got some in the collection, you know, that here. But they really are mega stupid, an Ericaphone, for one very simple reason. The dial's on the bottom of the thing, and you pick it up, turn it over, and the hook switch is actually a button in the middle of the dial. So when you pick the thing up off the desk, the hook switch releases, so it's like off hook, and you can just dial the number. Then you hold the whole thing to your face and make your call. But when you're on your call and somebody says to you, yeah, so and so, and you go, hang on a minute, I'll get a pen. And you go, boom, and put the phone down to go and get a pen, and you hang the damn thing up. Really, 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 really silly thing they are. Yeah, Graham Townsend here, he says, they are stupid. Suicide phone. Yeah. Don't says, another thing he found was a Mark 1746L complete with lettered bezel in Concord Blue, but someone pipped him to the post in bidding. He'd never seen one with a lettered bezel before. They are out there. There's a red one on eBay now at about 20 quid. It was sat at about £15. I put a bid on it and it shot up to about 20 quid. And I thought, nah, it's not worth more than that. But there is a red one on eBay, ebay.co.uk now. But you have to be very careful, because they're now making these bezels and screen printed onto the surface of the bezel, onto 746 bezels, the letters and numbers, and fitting them to phones. And you shouldn't do it like that. The bezel, a proper one on a 746, is not what you know as a 746 bezel. It's a flat bezel like on a 706 that fits on with a metal ring on the back. If you look very carefully on the photos, if you can see in detail on the photos, you can see the four little clip things, metal clips holding the bezel on. What's happened to my phone here? It's done something strange. Hang on. Hello? Me. No, my phone's doing something silly. So yeah, you can get the what was I saying? The bezels. Yeah, look for the little clips holding the bezels on. 4 clips around the side. If you can't see 4 metal clips, stay away from it, because it's probably just a later one piece plastic bezel with the plastic clips on that, you know, lock on like that off a 746. They never had any markings on them for the GPO. They didn't. So if you see those with markings on, they are wrong. They are an aftermarket thing. Christopher says, the orange trim phone my mum had is in Australia now. Has she still got it then, Christopher? If she's still got it, she needs to hang on to it, that, because it's worth money, that is, honestly. Really is. Trim phones in general are worth more than 706 or 746s. And those Snowden ones are particularly valuable, generally. And the colour makes a difference on the price. The cyan one is also very rare and valuable. I've got a red one, and I had a black and grey one as well, but somebody wanted it, so I sold it, which is a great shame because I like the black and grey one. It's my favourite one, and I thought I'd be able to get another one of these because I've seen quite a few at the time, and so I sold it to somebody who wanted it, and damn me, I've not seen one since. Christopher says, yeah, his mum's still got that trim phone. Excellent. Tell her to hang on to it. Tell her to hang on to it. It's an investment, tell her. Right, I'm going to put this trim phone back together while we're here. I've got to get this little feet thing of this. One of the things with the trim phone is that the dial has feet on. You can see the two little feet, and you have to get them under the other circuit board, like that, so it all sits down in place like that. Shall we see if it's got a tritium tube in it while we're here, this one? Because I don't know. I honestly have not got a clue if it's got a tritium tube in. Yeah, it has. There is the tritium tube, as you can see, non-glowing, but it is there. So yeah, I'm probably radioactive now. Yeah. Dominic says the trim phones do look very smart in red. They do. The one I've got's faded though. It needs colour restoring because it's got a sort of weird, dirty pink colour. Paul says one of the first phones I packed recently was my genuine World War II 300 style scrambler phone. It has a genuine jade green handset. The GPO often painted the handsets due to shortages. And Graham Townsend says, I do have a few trim phones, including a Snowden. I think people emigrating took them with them, which might be a bit naughty if they were renting. Snowden phones you didn't rent. Normal trim phones you rented, but by the time the Snowden range came out, what the Snowden range actually was it was recycled phones. They weren't new phones at all. They were phones that had been on rental, come back in to be refurbished. They had these new funky colour cases fitted to them, had a new line cord put on them with the then brand new plug and socket, and they were sold in BT shops. Back then, BT, or British Telecom as it was then, it was branded as Telecom then, had shops a bit like the mobile phone companies have shops now. And at that moment in time, you were suddenly allowed to buy phones from these shops and plug them in to the GPO system, provided they had a green approved sticker. It was a white sticker with a green circle on that said approved, or it had, I think it was it a red square or a red triangle? I think it was a red triangle if they were denied, if they were not to be connected to the GPO system. So you could go into basically one of these telecom shops and buy a Snowden trim phone, and that's why they did it. because they made these phones these fancy colours. You had a very limited range of colours of phones and that before. So they made the phones these fancy colours to entice people to buy the phones. Because they realised if people didn't rent the phones anymore, they didn't have to maintain them. So they thought it was probably cheaper to sell a phone to somebody than it was to rent it and have to keep going out and maintaining it. Because they decided that they were going to have a big range of phones so people could change their phone if they wanted to. And that's when contemporaries and stuff like that got to the UK, when people could buy their phones. And the contemporaries, this new design of phone, which of course had been around in Canada and Ireland and other places for about 20 years, but but in England everybody thought it was new, but of course it wasn't. And you could have Erica phones as well. I think if you were stupid enough, you could have a silly Erica phone. Or one that a lot of people had at that time was Mickey Mouse. Can you remember Mickey Mouse? Held the handset like that. Christian says, I saw a picture of a Trimphone glowing with a radioactive tube on a website on Google. Yeah, was it glowing with the radioactive tube, Christopher, or was it one that somebody's done? We were having a talk on it. I don't think you were here. We were having a talk on it, was it last week or the week before, about Trimphones, and somebody had put some of this light gathering paint onto the back of one of the dials, put on a piece of cardboard that is slid in behind the dial. This paint that kind of absorbs light when the lights are on, and when you turn the lights off it glows again, and it was really bright on the photographs. It was really good. But that may be what's happened. I've also seen people put LEDs in Trimphones, and light the dial with 3 or 4 LEDs round here, because of course they take the tritium tube out, then there's a little trough you can put 3 or 4 LEDs in. So I have seen people do that. Graham says, I think that change allowing you to buy phones happened all around the world at roughly the same time. It probably did, Graham, it probably did. I don't know about other parts of the world so much, but that's certainly when it happened here, early 1980s-ish. Around about the time it was all being privatised, everything was being privatised by Margaret Thatcher. Dominic says there's a GPO brochure showing the original glowing effect of the Trimphone. And Dominic says that's my one, Andy. Oh, the one with the card. Yeah, I knew it was somebody on here. Yeah. So Dominic's put this. It is card, isn't it, Dominic? That you've put in the back behind the dial. You've just taken this front piece off. This bit. Slipped a sort of C-shaped bit of card in there that you've painted with this magic paint, and then just put it all back together. Of course it glows through this, because this is translucent on a Trimphone, and you can't really see very well on the camera, but it's kind of, there's a bit that's painted that you shouldn't be able to see through, but the rest of it you can see through. Can you see the numbers through the back there? You see? So when you light behind it, it does glow through. But yeah, it was really good, that. I'm going to have to get some of that paint and try that trick, I think. Because it's a good non-destructive way of putting the glow back in, I think, that. Jimmy says, as it's the last one before Christmas, hope you and everyone has a great and safe time. We're hoping to. we're hoping to. It's not entirely the last thing before Christmas, because there are going to be some lives. There's going to be at least one live. For those of you that watch Escape the Shed on the old railways, and that I do occasionally, we're going to try and do a couple of live ones in the run up to Christmas. The first one is, I believe, on the 22nd. It's up on YouTube now as an upcoming event. I think the first one's on the 22nd of December, and it's one what we're going to do at a place called Byron Brickworks, which is on the old Dowley branch of the Midland Railway, which is an abandoned railway. The Brickworks is no more. It's a forest now. It's been gone so long, there's big trees on the site now. But when you walk around there, you can find all sorts of artifacts and things. So we're going to try and do that live, I think, on the 22nd, and then on Christmas Eve we're going to do something else on Christmas. We're going to do another one, we think, on Christmas Eve. So watch out for that. That's 2 lives coming up, weather permitting, of course, because they're outside. So we're going to be doing those before Christmas, and then there'll be something between Christmas and New Year, but I'm not sure what yet. Fat Orbit says he's looking forward to the 2 upcoming events. Yeah, please pray for it not to rain on those days. Don't feel like getting wet at the moment, so yeah, please pray for it not to rain, folks. You know, whatever God you look to, please ask him not to send any rain. All of them. Right. You know something? I did put that wrong screw in, because that's going round there. That is the sort of screw you normally put in the centre of a dial, but I've got it all wrong, haven't I? Oh, I know what I've done. I've been really stupid. I've put the wrong screw in there. I thought it didn't go in very easy, that screw. That was a random screw that was kicking around on the desk, I think, or it fell out of the phone. It was a random one that was rattling around inside this phone, because that one should have been a little... No, it shouldn't have been a self-tapper. Where the hell's that come from then? Well, that was right. That's odd. These dials normally have self-tapping screws, but that one doesn't go in. That's weird. Anyway, that one fits, so that one's going in. That one must have been a random one that was kicking around on the desk then, because now put those legs in there. Hang on, that's missed, hasn't it? No, hang on now, I'm in trouble now. Always when it's live it goes wrong. You know, if I do one of these pre-recorded, I do it right first time. You know, do it live, oh no, you have to mess it up when you do it live. Right, so that has to fit in there like that. So does that little screw do it now then? No, it doesn't. It's way too small, that. Talking to themselves a minute. I will sort this out. You want to see what I'm doing? Hang on. There you go. That's better. The board is screwed down now, back where it ought to be. Then those two legs hook under the upper board. Two front ones just fit in the front there. And why is it all moving about now? Because I've missed again with that screw. Right, let's have another go at this. This is what I say about British phones being really rubbishly designed when it comes to putting all the parts together. Do this with an American 500 and it all just sort of, you almost throw a 500 together. It was a bump, 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 and everything just fits together. None of this having to bend the cases and bend the circuit boards to get them in and that. But British phones, no, that'd be too easy. That would be way, way, way too easy for a British one. Wouldn't it? Right, I think that's in place now. Right, does the little screw now work? Yeah, it does. Right, that's the screw that should have been in there, that little one. Now, that's more sensible. That looks more right. So that one, actually that looks like one out of a 300 series. That must be one that was rolling around on the desk just to confuse me. Right, you see, I get it wrong just like everybody else. No such thing as an expert here. Right, so now we will put the case back on. This way we'll find out the phone doesn't work in a minute. I don't know if I dare test this in a minute or not, because it might not work. So you put the case back on like so. And then you have to screw down this really ridiculously long and plastic screw. And that doesn't seem to want to go in either. Just let's have a look and make sure it's going in the right place. Yeah, I think it is. That doesn't want to play ball, this doesn't. Let me get a slightly bigger screwdriver on the job. Take the case off, screw that in the hole. Just make sure it goes in the hole without the case on. And you can see that it doesn't really want to go in, does it? Let's have a look at the thread on it. It looks reasonable. The hole is clear. Just look down the hole. Right. Let's have another go then. Right, the hole is there. I think it might be a bad plastic screw. Just doesn't want to. It came out okay, didn't it? Does not want to go back in. Is it some kind of trick, being the last show? Is somebody tricking me with this? It's certainly strange. Right. Right, let me have. I'm looking at the threads now on this, just to see if they're okay. Right, do you want to have a look? See if what you can make of it. Don't seem to be any threads at all on the end of it, do there? But the rest of them are okay. It's narrow at the end to line it up, which I think is how they're made. The threads on the rest of that look okay, don't they? So why will it not go in that hole? Well, it does not want to do it. I'm going to end up breaking this. So it's screwing off if we're not careful. Is there a trick to this? Sure there's not. Sure. I've done this loads of times before. It came out reasonably easily. Why don't we not go back in? Dominic says a bit of oil on that plastic screw can help. And Paul says, where did you get your black 706 clone, Andy? And do you know how old it is? I don't know how old it is, Paul. I'm guessing with it having a dial 12 on it, I'm guessing it's the earlier part of the 60s. I'm just looking if I've got a bit of oil or something around here. I'm going to have to go outside and find a bit and put on that screw. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, I've returned. I've got my magic multi-purpose spray that I got out of the pound shop, and now I've been in the pound shop and I don't seem to have it anymore. But yeah, it's pretty good, this is, when I don't lose the top of it like that. So if I spray a bit of this magic stuff, and it smells wonderful. Spray some magic stuff on that screw. They normally go in easy though. These do. Let's try and put it in now then. Still only goes so far, and I don't want to and then gets completely stuck when it gets that far. But having said that, that far is probably far enough. Let's see. Does a 706 clone have a date on the back of the speaker in the handset? Chris asks. That's a good question. I'll have a look in a minute. Let me see if I can get this to go back together. Let's drop a bit of that into that hole. That's it. Put a bit more on it here. Right, there we go. Right, let's see how far in it's got to go. Bigger screwdriver. Stand up and do it. Got it, I think. We've got it. Rub all the bunge off it, his sleeve. Right, we've got it. Hooray! See, when we come back in New Year for Series 8, hopefully we'll get better at this. Right. Put that in there, and that is the right screw for that hole. Yes, definitely. So I can now put that in there. Can you believe there are 15 people watching this? Wow. By the way, was anybody watching the Starship launch this week? I was watching Everyday Astronaut, his coverage of SpaceX's Starship launch this week. 2 nights of really, really good viewing there. Forget telly. YouTube is way better than the telly. There are people on YouTube that are way better than the BBC, and the Starship launch was really, really good. Watch Everyday Astronaut's coverage of the Starship launch if you want something to watch for about 2 or 3 hours. You know, that's interesting and just a nice bit of something to have on in the background one evening or something. Everyday Astronaut's coverage of the launch of SpaceX's SN8. I'll not tell you what happened if you don't know already. But it did launch, it did take off, it did fly quite well. Right, we've done it. Shall we try it? Shall we try it? Oops, a bit of finger trouble there. Got to sort my wires out now, 'cause it's got one of these really. Oh, hang on. I can't try it because it's not got the right wire on. It's not got a thing on it. It's not got a line cord on it. This is one that I'd restored and just not put a line cord on. So I can't try it. So we'll not try it. But yeah, at least it's all back in one piece now. So that's the Trimphone. So the answer to the original question was there were only 2 wires between the two circuit boards in that phone. Only two. Right, where are we? Getting towards the end of the show, I think, aren't we? What is it? 7:30? Yeah, time for my pizza. Paul Nolan says, is N1900 as a date on the circuit board? He thinks he rescued it from a hospital years ago, and it was his first 700 restoration. Dominic says the only thing he's missing is a line cord in olive green for his phone. He says even the repro ones aren't in olive green. That's a bit of a downer, isn't it? Right. What was I going to do? I was going to have a look at this, wasn't I? This. Shall I get it into shot so you can see it? Because it's always on the edge of the desk, this, and you can never actually see the blooming thing. But unfortunately, I have to have it upside down, so it's to me. But yeah, this is. Oh, hang on, can I turn it round? This is the clone. Now, this is not an Ericsson one. I think it's GEC. This, but I'll not swear to it. And it says absolutely diddly squat underneath it, as you can see. But I think it's GEC. I think I worked out it was GEC from some of the components inside it. What were we saying? Where do we reckon there might be a date or something on it? Christopher said there might be a date on the back of the speaker in the handset. So the speaker, we think might have a date on the back of it, do we? Nah, nothing on there, matey. Nothing on there. But it is a non-standard speaker as well, isn't it, that? It's very non-standard. No dates in there. But yeah, interesting and non-standard. So we have a look in the other end, see if the microphone's got a date on it. No, nothing on that either, because they are sometimes dated on the back there, but nothing on it. Oh well. Back to the drawing board on that then. Right. Dominic says, that's a shame. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I was kind of interested to find out how old it was. I think it's early part of the 60s because the cord on it is a very chunky one. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It's one of the really fat ones. In fact, it's so fat it's gone quite hard over the years. And one of the problems with this phone is when you sort of pick the handset up, you end up dragging the phone across the desk because this cord is so hard. But yeah, cool. It still works. So there you go. Right, put everything away. That's that. Very smelly multi-purpose stuff. Aquanol, it's called. If you see any of that in the pound shop, buy it. It's quite good. Right, I think we've about cracked it. Yeah, it was a nice try, Paul, wasn't it? Yeah. Dominic says his 1963 Diacon 706 in black has that older microphone in the handset, dated 62. Yeah. That microphone, that type of microphone insert goes way back. I I believe you can fit it to a candlestick. In fact, I think I put one in this candlestick that I'm restoring. So it goes way back to when you could fit onto candlesticks. So yeah, way back. Cool. Right, I think that is probably about a wrap for today. Dominic says, thanks all, it's been a great series Randy shared. Yeah, thanks Dominic, thanks to everybody for watching. We're not really going anywhere, although it's the end of a series, we're not really going anywhere. We will be back first Sunday in January, and before then we have got these YouTube lives to do, which will be coming up over the festive period. Watch out for those. The first one, I believe, is on I think it's the 22nd, and then the next one's on the 24th, I think, and then there'll be another one after Christmas, probably between Christmas and New Year, a live of some sort. And then we will be back on, what date is it when we come back then? Says he, looking at his phone for his calendar. We come back on Sunday the 3rd. Sunday the 3rd of January is when we come back. And the lives, the first live is on the 4th. No, the first live, sorry. No, not the 4th. What am I talking about? The first live is on the 22nd of December. And that's the one, hopefully, where we're going to be at Byron Brickworks. Which is a brickworks that closed down before World War II, opened up again around about World War II to supply bricks, for to rebuild bombed out houses, and then shut again. And since it closed, it's all been landscaped and whatnot. I think it was used as a rubbish dump for a while. I think the clay pits for the bricks were used as a rubbish dump for a while, and they dumped all rubbish in it, and then landscaped it, and now it's a forest basically. There's all trees grown on it. So that's interesting, because things do come up, as I say, because it's been a rubbish dump. Stuff does come up to the surface, bits of pottery and things. In fact, I think this bit came from down there. I believe this bit of pottery came from down. I think this bit came from down there. Can you see that? Yeah. So that came from Byron Brickworks, I believe. So hopefully we'll find more of that on the live show, and of course you'll be able to talk to us live as well. We've figured out how to do it on Streamlabs, I think. So the first one's going to be a bit of a test. Now, what will happen with it? The first one, on the 22nd, if for any reason it doesn't work, we will do the one from the 22nd on the 24th. So we'll move it up. So if Byron Brickworks doesn't work on the 22nd, we'll move that up to the 24th, and then we'll do the one that we had scheduled for the 24th, which was the one in the old railway tunnel. We'll do that at a later date. Because, to be honest, the one in the railway tunnel, we've got to go on top of the tunnel, and it's very exposed to do it in winter. So I was having second thoughts about that. So we might move the Byron Brickworks one up if we've not already done it by the 24th. Right, I hope that has explained what we're doing there. I hope we've managed to explain it all at that. Dominic says, is there much left of the Great Central Railway Chesterfield Loop? Right, I'm just trying to think which one was the Great Central. No, nothing. There's a bypass on what used to be the Great Central. The one that's still in Chesterfield now, the railway line that's still in Chesterfield, was the Midland, and indeed still is. The one that gets talked about quite a lot in this area is the old Lancashire, Derbyshire and East Coast Railway that used to run into what they call Marketplace Station. That's all gone, although you can walk from the track bed for that. And the other one, where basically the track bed and everything's gone, the Great Central one, that is now the Chesterfield bypass. If you look at a map of Chesterfield, the A61, which is the bypass that goes sort of north to south, that is on the track bed, most of it, of the old Great Central loop. Christopher says he might be doing a live stream on New Year's Day of his air raid siren sounding at 12 AM. Now hang on, 12 AM? Is that like 12 AM at night into New Year's Day? Have I got that right there, Christopher? Yeah, I have, haven't I? I think. So otherwise it'd be 12 PM, wouldn't it? So it's the end of New Year's Eve, the very first moment of New Year's Day. Yeah, he says yes. That's when you're going to let off an air raid siren. Right? You're a brave man doing that in the middle of the night. Yes. Stream it, Chris. Why not? Yes, stream it. Definitely stream it. That. Let us have a link to it or something. Right, everybody. You have now got to go and subscribe to Christopher 2000 and click the bell icon so you remember when he's going to do that. Because obviously that will be. Are you behind us or in front of us in Australia? You're in front of us, aren't you, in Australia? You're in front of the UK, I think. In Australia. Yeah, there's a huge amount of lag in the stream at the minute. Yeah. Cool. I'm quite looking forward to seeing that live stream. Yeah. So everybody follow Christopher 2000. Subscribe to his channel on YouTube. Some really good train stuff on there actually about Australian railways and signals and things. And make sure you hit that little bell icon so you know when he's going to let the air raid siren off at New Year. Yeah. Graham says it's 8:30 AM in New Zealand. Cool, excellent. Right. So yeah, we're going to look forward to this air raid siren now, Christopher. You've got to do it now. You've said you're going to do it, so now you've got to do it. Yeah. It's going to wake up Melbourne at 12 AM. Oh, I'm dying to see this. Yeah, brilliant. Live stream it, but can you record it? Of course you can, because YouTube will record it as well, won't it? Yeah, so make sure you set it on YouTube, Chris, so that people can watch it back later if they want to. Because you can set live stream so they disappear once they've been live, or you can let people watch them back later. Make sure you set it so people can watch it back later. And best of all, it's a GEC air raid siren. So that's excellent. There's the phone connection for you. Brilliant GEC air raids. Is it a little handheld one? A little grey one? And you do this. It's in like a metal frame. because I have seen those. One of the things I've always wondered post World War II, where did all the air raid sirens go? Because when you think about it, there were thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them, and it's now very, very rare you see one. Oh, it's a silly top chat. That's why it's not. Hang on, live chat. That's better. Yeah, right. I think that's about a wrap for today. I think we've gone about as far as we can for today. So yeah, remember, watch us 22nd and 24th of December for the live shows. If you've not done so already and you want to know when the lives are on, subscribe and click that little bell icon-y thing that's somewhere around as well, and then it should send you an email when we go live. Paul says there are still stations in London with air raid sirens fitted. Yeah, I know one of the few that I know of is outside Waterloo Station in London. But that's about the only sort of static one I can think where it is now. But yeah, where did all the air raid sirens go? Definitely need to find the air raid sirens. Yeah, so that's just brilliant. So remember, watch us on the 22nd, watch us on the 24th. You click subscribe, you click the little bell icon so you know when we're going live. I think it's going to be around about midday on the 22nd, not sure on the 24th. And then New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, Australian time. Get on over to Christopher 2000 on YouTube for him blasting in the new year, quite literally, with his air raid siren, which should be really, really good. Paul says police boxers used to control the air raid sirens in London. Police boxers? Oh dear, well, if Jodie Whittaker's got anything to do with the air raid sirens, we are knackered, aren't we? Doctor Who reference there for those of you that aren't in the UK. By the way, for those of you looking forward to seeing Doctor Who around the world over Christmas, sorry, I'm just going to apologise for it before it goes out now. Sorry, world. It's dire. She's ruined it. Right. I got a video of Siren on my channel already. Right, I'm going to go and have a watch of that then, Chris. Right, so as I go and watch Christopher 2000 and his air raid siren, all that remains for me is to say thanks to everybody for watching this tonight and even this series of Andy Shed Live. It's been the longest series we've done so far. We've been here for 45 weeks. Well, actually, we've been here a little bit more than 45 weeks because we had a couple of weeks that we missed. So we've been here sort of throughout all this coronavirus business, and hopefully we'll be here throughout 2021 as well and beyond. So until next time, have a great run up to Christmas, and I will see you all live 22nd, won't I? Provided it's not raining. So from me for now, have a great run up to Christmas. We'll see you on the 22nd, and we'll see you on the 24th. We'll see you just after Christmas, and then we'll see you back here with another Andy Shed Live, first Sunday of 2021. Have a great one. Bye, y'all.